Colleges usually have really old guards. I don't get why, because they're not. Who are they protecting us from? The spirits? It started at the end of 2019 and it lasted till 2023. I would just be in my room playing League of Legends all day, every day. I would wake up at 5 p.m. on the good days and like 9 p.m. on the bad days. Hey guys, it is currently 11:46 in the PM, which means it's almost midnight. And it's basically my bedtime, but I don't want to go to bed, so I thought I would talk about something that I tend to yap a lot about with my friends, and I thought maybe you guys would like to hear about it. So there's this term called the HIKIKOMORI. If you're not familiar with it, I will explain. HIKIKOMORI are reclusive adolescents or adults who withdraw from social life, often seeking extreme degrees of isolation and confinement. The term refers to both sociological phenomena in general and the individual belonging to the societal group who have been described as modern hermits. So it really is just like a Japanese word for a person that's withdrawn from society, just doesn't go out, doesn't have much of a social life, friends, relationships. It comes with a certain kind of loneliness and isolation that can be quite overwhelming, and just I, from experience, know that. And I think there's also the aspect of being super dependent on your internet and stuff like that. And so I wanted to come here and talk about my experience as someone that I feel like I can relate to this word, because I was a shut-in for exactly a year, I think more. Memory is hazy. I think I faced detention in my college due to attendance reasons, and everything just started from bullying and it snowballed into a bunch of things. But long story short, I was not attending college. I basically stayed home for a year and a half, doing nothing, meeting no one, going nowhere, just in my room, drawing and playing games. So this term means a lot to me. I think isolation can be very addicting, especially when you fall out of that feeling of motivation, of like wanting to keep going with your life. If you don't have direction, if you don't know what you're doing, it can be very easy to fall into a habit of just staying in your room and just withdrawn from society. So basically, what happened was, to give you some context of what really happened in my college, was like one time we had a Christmas event when we were in year one, and during that event we put snow outside everywhere. Not we, I mean the people that were celebrating it, put snow everywhere in the ground outside, and they basically just played music, people danced, and that was it. And then at around 5, I think, everybody just stopped partying. The party was over, and because this was a dorm, and an Indian dorm, so we were supposed to be back in the dorm at around, it was winter time, so I think it was around 7 something. I don't exactly remember the time anymore, but what I remember is this old guard. Colleges usually have really old guards. I don't get why, because they're not. Who are they protecting us from? The spirits? This old guard was just picking up all of the cotton which was used to snow, right? Make it look like it was snow. So this old man was picking up all this snow all by himself, and this ground was really big. So me and my friend, and we were in year one, we were new, okay, like the term we use, like freshers. So this guy was picking up all of this snow, all of the cotton all by himself. So I say to my friend, hey, you want to help him pick that up, because he's old and I feel bad for him, it's really cold, look at him, he's bending his knees, it must really hurt. So she was like, yeah, let's do it. So we helped him pick up all of the cotton, and by then it had been another 10 or 15 minutes. Usually attendance will be 30 minutes to like get all of the years right. Usually attendance was 30 minutes, and we were 10 or 15 minutes late. So we go for attendance, and the woman that does it, the warden, I don't know why we call them that, I really hate it. She was like, where were you? And before I can even tell her what we were, actually I did tell her we were picking up snow, and she was like, you think I'm stupid? You think I'm dumb? then she just took it out on me and her and said some like derogatory things, and she was like, for this whole week, both of you are gonna stand here while I like until I'm done with attendance of everybody else, and then you leave. So basically she told us that we had to stand there for like 30 minutes every day. Some days it would be like longer because she wanted to lecture everybody about something. So it was like ranging between like 15 to 30 minutes max, right? So we would be standing there for the rest of the week just because we did something that apparently was against the law, helping an old man that she did not want to hear, and she did not believe us. And that's where it all really started. That's where this person started bullying the both of us. It started with this small incident where she just assumed that we had attitude, and we decided that she just didn't like us. From there, that in like miscommunication that happened because of her. And that's just really sad. Over the years that I did stay at that college, I did notice her notice her doing the same thing with other kids, but she really took it super far with me and my friend, because we were introverts, and we would just be quiet, you know. I have learned in this life that if you take things quietly, people will keep giving you things, and if you talk back, then they will maybe consider stopping. So that's why students that don't talk too much, like, I think they get the worst of it. So that's where the bullying started. I don't want to go too deep into what exactly happened, but I will say that it was horrible enough to make me want to not be part of that place anymore. So that was year 1, and then after this event, so many other things happened. This was not the sole reason of me just deciding to lock myself up, but many things happened, small things, big things. It's overwhelming, especially when you're living at a place. So like, I failed my exams, this and that, blah, 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 and then COVID comes around, and that was a perfect opportunity. I think everybody could turn into a hermit at that time, but that's where I turned like big into hermit energy, okay? I stayed like that for 2 years, or I think 2.5 years. I just decided that I just wasn't gonna do it. I stopped going to college. I would have many fights with my family because I was refusing to go. But I had my own reasons, and nobody wanted to hear those, but that's fine. I also don't think that bullying was the number one reason. I just mentioned it because that's how it started, like my distaste for the place that I was supposed to be at. But then I also just realized that being a dentist was not my favorite thing in the world. So I think my lack of interest in the degree that I was working on was one thing, but also like the disrespect and the bullying that I received at the college, on top of it, just like made everything so much heavier to deal with. And the bullying really did it for me. Like, I was already just there against my will, but people just bullying me, and teachers at that. I mean, that was really, really difficult. And I tried talking about it, but the only person that got it was my friend that also got bullied. So that's great for the both of us. Friendship with her is just a trauma bond, guys. Anyways, so that's how I became this word that it feels odd to say, but that's quite literally what it was. It's like a HIKIKOMORI situation. I just didn't go out anymore. It started at the end of 2019, and it lasted till 2023. I would just be in my room playing League of Legends all day, every day. I would wake up at 5 p.m. on the good days and like 9 p.m. on the bad days. That was my life for a very long time. I fell out from all of my friendships that I made in my first year of college, the good ones. I was such a hermit that I would make sure like I wake up at the time that everybody is going to bed. So like I would feel guilty about it, missing out, like even not even socializing with my own family. Like I would just wake up right when everybody's going to bed, and sometimes I would even wait for everybody to just go into their rooms to go out and get food. And then my dinner would be like right 5 a.m. when everybody is just about to wake up, and then I would take the food and I would run into my room, eat it like a rat, and then pretend to be sleeping until I actually fall asleep. And the days that I did stay awake were spent just being absolutely verbally assaulted about how I should get my life together. And I think that's fair. I think if I had a child, I would probably do the same. But that's not to say that I don't have any sympathy for myself. I don't think anybody understands how hard it can be once you isolate yourself from the world. When the world is not kind, it's really hard to come back into it. And so I was a shut-in for like 3 years, or actually memory is hazy, but yeah, I just didn't go out. And then the times after that were even harder because people had all these rumors about me. Oh, you're depressed. Oh, this, oh, that. And I wasn't depressed, I was just not going out, and I just wasn't interested in what was happening at that place. And I feel like when I was in this state of just not going out, my biggest place to feel okay was video games. Okay, I don't know if I can call it a video game addiction at that time, because that's what was keeping me sane. I genuinely believe if I didn't have League of Legends, I would just be like completely gone mental by now. So we appreciate Riot Games in this household. Thank God you exist. Thank you, Jinx. Oh, Arcane. The reason I'm making this video is like slowly I'm realizing that I might not be the only one that has gone through something like this, and I'm realizing that there's other people like me, that sometimes you're just, waiting for whatever. Sometimes you're in a gap year between colleges. Sometimes you drop out. Sometimes you just don't feel like it. Sometimes nobody can understand what you're going through. Sometimes, like, whatever the reason, that there are people that end up in situations like this all over the world. And also, I feel like what makes the situation of being a HIKIKOMORI in India unique is that our lives are way more entangled with our families and the pressure that comes from being such family-based people. Like, in our culture, no one's going to let you stay in your room for that long. You're gonna get dragged for it. I quite literally got dragged for it, and that was not fun. Like, it's not just gonna be a peaceful, oh, you're just peacefully staying in your mom's basement or attic. That's not going to happen. Your mom and your dad are going to beat you out of the house, or at least try to get you out. And I feel like sometimes all people need is like some space to just exist quietly, to get less tired from whatever is causing them to be this way. And sometimes people just generally need a push to get out, but whatever the reason may be for wanting to not go out, like, sometimes it can be hard to have that space. I feel like I was able to stay like a shut-in for 3 years, and even that is some sort of a privilege, because I know a lot of people wouldn't ever get that. And I think that's really I don't know if I can call it sad or what, but I feel like personally for me, that place, that time period of being a shut-in was like really, really, really horrible. But then I was struggling with so many things that I absolutely needed it, and if I didn't get it, then I would be worse somehow. But I also see that there are ways that it could have been avoided, that I could have handled things better. I don't know. Just something that I went through. And it's weird. And I think that's why there's such a disconnect between me and, like, I just don't have any friends anymore. But I'm working on it. And I'm actually very social now, so. And by that I mean, like, I have 2 friends. But that is a lot, actually. That's a lot. So I don't know, what is your thoughts about this? You ever go through something similar? I don't know. And I will see you guys in the next video.